There we go.
All right. So here we are. I am sharing my screen, and we're going to start with, I still have to fix 7. I haven't had time to go back and fix 7. All right. So we are on chapter 13, exercise 1. Let's go down each one of the things. Do you want to read the problem and then I show you what I learned?
Okay, so I did number 4. So I've done 1 through 3, which is just a test.
Right.
And looking at it. And then number 4 is pass the cart by value. So modify the parameters for the functions in the cart.php file. So the first parameter for each function is the cart array. That's passed by value like this. So I went and did that.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Which is this?
number 5, where it says modify the code for the function so that the cart parameter, so they use a cart parameter. To do that, you can use the cart parameter instead of getting the cart array from the global session array.
Okay, so here's what I learned. We are going to learn next week cookies. Do you know what is a cookie on a computer, on a website?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the cookie, it's something that it stores on the website, right? Let me see.
Mm-hmm.
It stores on your computer. So what happened is that information is saved in your computer and you can get back to it. A session is stored in a server. So what happened is that if you open a website, for example, and you log in your password, let's say BYU Idaho, you log in and then you close that tab, close the website, and said, oh, I really didn't want to do that. And then you turn back on that, oh my gosh, okay, bye. Sorry, I had a friend here that came for me to help her with something else too. So, where was I? Okay.
It stores it on the server. The session stores it on the server.
The session is stored in a server. So what that means, if you close a tab of a website that you're visiting, and then you decide to open a tab again and go to the same website, you know how sometimes it recognizes that, oh, you were already logged in. It didn't completely log you off.
Uh-huh.
So that information was not saved in your computer like a cookie. It was saved in a server, and that's a session. So for as long as you don't close the browser, if you just close the tab and then you close and open again, it will still recognize. But if you close Firefox, for example, or Chrome, and you try to open that, you open Chrome again and you try to go back to BYU Idaho, then you have to put the password again and all the stuff again. So the session is keeping that information there. And what does that has to do with the cart? Let's say you are on a web page where you have a cart that you are putting information. Let's say Amazon. You have put 1, 2, 3 things on Amazon cart, but you decide, I'm not sure if I'm going to buy this now, and you close the tab from Amazon and you look for somewhere else, and then you decide to come to Amazon again. You open another tab and you open there, and all your items are still in that cart because the session had not ended.
Mm-hmm.
It will only end it if you close Chrome. So here's what it's saying is that modify the code for the function to use the cart parameter. So they use the cart parameter. To do that, you can use the cart parameter that we just created there of getting the cart array from the global session. So what's going to happen is that it's going to get that information, that if you have that information on a session, it will keep populating the cart. And if you don't, then you will start from where you are. So does it make any sense what I said?
Yeah, so basically we want to change it so it's not storing that information on the server. It's basically coming up new when you close out the tab. Is that right?
Right. So
Okay.
if you don't want to store that on a server and you store it on the array card, so what do you have to do?
We have to make it so that it's calling the cart array instead of
The server.
the server. Yeah.
So here's an example. You see, look at, if you still have not done this, you're going to see that right here on mine is line 9. It calls the section instead of the cart.
Yeah.
So what do you need to do then?
You need to change the session from that to, I think it's, let me bring up my NetBeans so I can see. Oh, I don't want to share. So on mine, since I haven't changed, it has the session and then cart 13. So I just need to write cart on there so it's calling the cart array.
Exactly. And if you're going to call the cart instead of the session there, where else that needs to change?
So you basically need to change all the sessions to carts, right?
Bingo. So that's what you do. So every time you have a session, if you, so you don't want to completely get rid of the, oh no, you do, because you see that, sorry, everything that you have here on the cart PHP, where they had the session cart 13, now we'll have cart, the variable cart, because that's what we did. We substitute one for the other.
So on line 23, it's going to be carts.
And then the key.
And that's going to equal the item.
Yes. So what do you think is going on there? So let's see, we're in add an item to the cart. So if we're adding an item to the cart, like in the beginning, it says, if items already exist in the cart, you're going to update the quantity. So we're going to update from, we were updating from a session, but now we are updating from the variable that is cart.
Then it's updating all of these things, the name, the cost, the quantity, and the total, right?
Exactly. So now what it's doing is that when you're adding an item, it will add an item to the cart. And then when you update them, you're also updating what is in a cart. It's not pointing to the session, but pointing to the variable cart.
Okay.
And okay, now we move down to 6, and I think this, we already did part of it. Modify the code in the index PHP file so it uses this function instead of getting the array cart from the global session array. That way, you only need to get the cart array from the session array at the beginning of the script. However, you need to get the cart array in the session array each time you change the contents of the cart. Okay, so what we're doing is that every time we change the content of the cart, let me see here, if I think we already did this. Modify the code of the array to use the functions instead of getting the cart array from home. So we're going to go to the index because we fixed this here, right? So now we're going to fix the index. So what happened is that on the index, this stop, create an array if it's needed, it stays the same because it's saying if the session is empty, what's going to happen here?
If the session is empty,
It means
it's not
you
gonna
just,
show anything, right?
Say it again.
Not going to fill anything?
Doesn't have anything, right? You just logged in into Amazon and your cart has nothing. So what happened to that session? Has nothing on it, right?
Because nothing.
Exactly. So what's gonna happen? What are you gonna have in a cart?
Nothing.
Nothing, unless you put something in a cart, right? But
Yeah.
if there's, and then the next one, say else, if there is something in the cart already, where's this coming from? If you had closed the Amazon website but decided to go back and you open,
it's going to save this
yes, and we're saving it.
so that they can see, they can keep whatever's in their cart.
Exactly. So if you close the Amazon website but decided to go back and your cart still has stuff on it, that stuff was saved in a session. You see what I mean?
Again?
So if you are opening the Amazon website, for example, for the second time, and when you open, you already have items in the cart, those items were saved in a session.
Okay.
So that's why now you have this statement. If the cart is empty, it's going to create an array. But if there's something in the cart, that information is coming from the session.
Okay. That makes total sense.
It does. I don't know if I can explain this well, but in my head it works.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Okay, I'm glad, because I don't want to make it worse. All right, so in that sense, so these things are going to just be pretty much, I think, the same that we had before. If you compare to yours, I don't know if it's the same anymore.
No, mine says, it says, if empty, session dart, cart 13, and then it closes the parentheses, and then it has session cart 13 array.
Okay. Yeah, so
I need to create an else statement.
exactly. So we need to create the else statement. So you open the curly bracket and say, okay, if the cart is empty, now we're going to create a cart that is going to, and the information for this cart is coming from the array.
Okay, you're setting the variable here. Okay, that makes sense. Because you have the variable over on the cart.php, you need to set it over here as well.
Exactly. So this is where the connection is going to happen. And then the else says
equals array.
And it's an empty array because we don't know what's going to go into it yet. Right? Because really it's going to be the user who's going to choose what he's going to put in a cart.
And then our else statement is going to say our cart array is going to equal our session, right?
Yes.
So it saves our session.
Yes, if the first one is empty, then the else means, well, it's not empty. So if it's not empty, what is in there? Whatever was there from the previous session, which is the information that was saved in the server.
Okay. I'm going to write a memo so I know what's happening here.
Yes, I wrote on mine. Session is stored in a server. Cookies is stored in a computer.
have a appointment with Peter on Wednesday evening.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna work on my own database this week, and I may need to get a hold of him too. I really like Peter's work. He's a good kid. I mean, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he's a very good teacher too.
Yeah. I told him that, and he was really happy.
All right, hang on. I'm getting a error here. Why am I getting an error?
It's probably because we have not done more. I mean,
hang on. I think I need another curly brace. Yep. There we go.
Okay.
All right, so however, you need to set the cart in session array each time you change the contents. Okay, so now modify the code. I'm on number 7. Modify the code in cartview.php file so the get subtotal function works correctly.
Okay, let's go back there. So remember how we changed the sessions?
Mm-hmm.
We add carts to change the sessions, but if you see the function get subtotal, it doesn't have cart on it, right? It doesn't call that parameter.
This is on line 48, right?
On mine is line 43.
43.
Get cart subtotal. I'm looking at cart PHP, not index.
Oh, cart PHP. I'm in cart view.
Okay, no, we're not doing views yet.
Oh, okay, I see.
You see? Read it to me what you have on your function.
Function get subtotal is cart. Subtotal equals 0 for each cart as item. Subtotal plus equals item total. Then subtotal underscore F is a number format. Subtotal comma 2 returns subtotal F.
That sounds right. So the only thing you're going to have there, so you have already fixed the cart, right? You put a cart there?
Yeah, because it had me do that in 4.
Right.
To add that.
Okay, so now let's pass to 8. Modify the parameters for the following functions so that the cart array is passed by reference like this. So remember, passing by reference means putting the ampersand.
So did we do number 7? It says modify the code in cart view file so the get subtotal function works correctly.
Yeah, I mean, when you do the only thing that I have there, and it's not even that, that's what I was asking you what you had there, because I don't remember what I changed on it, but I remember I changed something. But you had the cart, and on mine now I have the decimal equals 2, but that's actually on 13. And we did change stuff from the beginning.
Oh,
so what's
yeah,
going to happen? Oh, we need to go to cart view. Hello.
Yeah, cart view. That's why I was confused.
Okay, so cart view. Now let's go down to, I know what it is. If you go to cart view line
48.
48, mine is 49, where you have the PHP get subtotal.
Okay.
What do you have on yours?
Cart view 48. So mine just has
49
that.
actually.
49.
Mm-hmm.
Mine just says PHP echo get subtotal.
Okay, so you need to pass what? What parameter we need to put on there, since we have on cart PHP, now we have a parameter. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
What parameter is there now?
The cart
Yes.
parameter.
So now you have to put the cart there.
Oh, I see. Got it.
Okay, now let's go back to 8, because we'll come back here and we'll add one of these things at a time. So 8, modify the parameters to the following functions so that cart array is passed by reference. Remember how you pass by reference?
I remember reading something about it, but I can't remember.
When you pass by reference, you put an ampersand before the $ of the variable, and that makes it that variable the default.
I see.
So in fact, this is on page, let me tell you, I had to read that to Peter because he didn't have a book, and like, how are you teaching us without a book? He said, I asked for a book. Nobody gave me a book yet. And like half of the semester is gone. And he's like, I know.
And we only have 5 weeks left, right?
Yeah. So if you want to make a note, this is on page 384.
I have the first edition, so it might be a little bit different, but
okay.
I can find it.
How to pass an argument by value and by reference. So it says, if you want an argument to be passed by reference, you can code an ampersand in front of the parameter. This means that PHP sends a pointer to the original variable instead of sending a copy of the variable. As a result, if the function changes the value that is stored in the variable, it also changes the original variables. Because what happened here is that if the cart is updated or added, we don't want it to create a copy of that information. We wanted that to become the new information. Right? So it's kind of it's updating itself as you're going along. So that's why now we go to function add item and function update item, and we're going to put an ampersand before cart.
Okay.
See here?
Let's see. Yeah. Is this in the cart.php file?
Yes. With all the functions.
You do it as well, like if it's under the if is set cart one, or just under like under the functions?
No, because you just do that in the parameters that is defining the function.
Okay.
So you have the name of the function, and then those parameters, you define it there. You don't have to put that in front of every time cart comes up. Once it's defined there, then you just need the name of the variable.
Yeah, that makes sense, because it's defined in the parameter and the function, so we don't need to do that to the rest of them.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. Modify the code for these functions so they don't return the cart array.
And okay, let's go down here on the return. If you look at this is returning. On the function add cart, add item, we want what to be changed. If you're adding items, what is going to be changing in a cart?
Your products?
Your products, right? So what is your products here?
Right now on line 4, there's a global products.
Exactly, but we don't change necessarily the products, because the products is the list that, for example, is being sold on the website. What you're changing is the item that you're getting it. So what you're going to return is then on your variable cart, you're going to have what? The items. Because the item is an array. And what you want to is to add, if you're adding the item, it's going to go and it's going to look at each one of these keys, which is going to be name, cost, quantity, and total. And you're going to add, when you click, I want to add a flute, there is a flute somewhere. It will recognize, oh, then she needs the name of the product, the cost of the product, the quantity, and the total. And then we'll put there in a cart for you.
Okay.
Does it make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Think about a checkout. You just click on the name. You don't have to click the name, the cost, the quantity of a total. You click the name of what you want, and then he pulls the array with all of that information, and he prints it there for you. Does that make sense?
I'm just trying to figure out if I already changed it or.
Well, it's hard for me to know now because since mine has changed, I don't have the original code to look at it.
I've changed some stuff too, so.
Okay, so yeah, let's just keep going then. Check that one off and let's go.
Mine looks the same as yours, so.
Okay. So we'll probably change it. You know what? When we change the sessions.
Yeah, because I changed all the sessions.
Yeah.
When I did it, so that's probably
so
why.
Jump ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So modify the statements in the index.php file that call these functions so they work correctly.
So let's go to index. When we're calling these functions now, the only difference is now is that we have we didn't have all the parameters that we have here. Let's, for example, the function add item now has how many parameters?
It has 3.
Okay, so let's go to the index and see how many parameters you have there. And let's go into the switch statement, because the switch statement is kind of like an if statement, right? Every one of this would be if this is da-da-da, then you do this. So in this case, the switch statement, just call it a case. So if the case is add for add item, then how many parameters we need to have in the parentheses?
We need to have 3.
All right, so see what you have.
I have 2.
So what do you need to do? And then the same thing is going to happen to the case update.
Okay, yeah, I see.
You see right below it? Okay, so it was a little bit tricky for me to get this library namesake thing. But once I understood what it is, it was just such a duh moment. Okay, so now we go
all you
back.
have to do is put your last name in cart.
Yes. So what happened is that we're gonna have to wrap the whole cart PHP file on a namespace. A namespace is what is going to name that whole library. So we're calling this file that has all the functions, it's now called a library. To make a library out of this, you have to use the code namespace, and then your last name cart. So that's the name of the library. And then you put one curly Q to open it. And then all the way to the end, before you close PHP, you put a closing. So what it did is said, okay, there's a namespace called Grande Cart that has all this library of functions. Think about subdirectories. That's how Peter explained it to me. You know how on a website you have like, let's say index / exercise / chapter 1, because it's pointing the direction where it's going. So that's what the library is. It's gonna, when you use the library, we're gonna point out where the functions are. So let's go back to the index and say where we have the functions called. So did you already save your last name cart?
Yeah.
Okay, so
we're going to go to the index first.
Yes, you go to on the cart PHP, if you did the library and you open the curly queues and close it in the end, then you're done. Now we go to index. Now, where do we call the functions here? What functions are we using from that place over there? From the library.
The functions that we are using are from cart are going to be add item, update item, and get subtotal, right?
Right. So let's see. So then what happened is that now you see where I have add item. Now you need to say, okay, the add item is inside the Grande cart.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna hang this up and put a do not disturb on this phone.
Do not disturb me right now.
I know. I usually hang off all the phones and I do all these crazy things, but my friend came over here and she's in the beginning of the process of going back to school. So she came and asked me to help with her English. I'm like, I'm the wrong person for you to do that. But we did what we did. And like, okay. So now what we're going to do is in front of add item, you're going to add grande / I mean, not grande, your last name, page, / cart / and then the name of the function. So, and I put a note that it directs the function to that library. Let's just check the library. So that's my own note, so I remember why I did that.
And it's on line 46 as well.
Exactly, because whenever you have another function being called, and mine is 48, where I have the update item. So that is done for 12.
And then in cart view.
Now let's go to cart view. Yeah. On cart view, we have the same thing because we have on line 49, we had the get subtotal. So now we need to point get subtotal to the library.
Oh, I see. Subtotal cart. And that's the only one, right? Because that's the only function that's being called in this one.
Yes. Yes. There's nothing else here that changes.
And use an optional parameter. Modify the code in the cart PHP file so the get subtotal function accepts an optional parameter that allows you to specify the number of decimals for the subtotal like this.
This is a really hard way to say show cents, right?
Yeah.
Because if we're talking about money, we want a decimal to be shown to show the cents. And the way you do it is you define in the function another parameter that says that you want the decimal to be the 2 decimals. So on my get subtotal function, I have decimal equals 2, just like they have in the book. But instead of putting decimal equals 2, you can just put the number 2 and it works. So here says put a 3 so you can play around with it, and then put it back at 2. And I just have it 2. So because now we changed the get function, the get subtotal function here, it now has 2 parameters. Where else does it need to change?
In our index or cart view?
Cart view. Why cart view?
Because that's where it's calling that function. So we need to add that second parameter.
Bingo. So let's go there. And now you can either put, mine I only have 2, but you can have cart and then the variable decimal equal 2, or you can simplify and just have it 2. Which is just saying,
let me see.
Yeah, the subtotal.
Oh. So why did he say you only need to put 2?
It's just a way to, it's like imagine like a shortcut.
Okay.
It's just saying that you wanted to have 2 decimals, and instead of saying I wanted the decimal equals 2, you can put just 2 and it will understand that.
Now, will you go back to your, I think it's your add item.
Add item view
No,
doesn't change anything.
no, go to your cart.php. So because you set the decimal to equal 2, you can just put the 2 as a shortcut on the cart view.
Yes, and in fact, if you look at line 48, you're going to see they already done that. They have subtotal, comma 2. They already specified here that they wanted the subtotal to have a 2 decimals with that number. Because if you don't, it's just going to give you just the whole number. It's not going to count the cents. And when you say you want decimals, then it will specify, it will add the decimals.
Okay.
And we didn't run once. We should be running this all along. So if you finish that part, let's click run and see what happens.
Do you want me to share my screen?
Yeah, let me stop sharing. And where do I see you here? Okay, here it is. Okay, you can share now. My hair is wet and it's a mess. So let the main get going. Okay.
All right. Wait, what? Add item. It's not doing anything.
Okay, let's go back there and see what happens. Click on empty item. Oh, is that on your local host or your web page?
Yeah, it's just on my local host.
Okay.
I do everything on my local host. I test it and then I run it, upload it.
Let's compare. Let's see what you have different.
Should we start with our cart?
Let's start with our cart. So we have the library.
Okay, library, and for the function, add item.
And then you have cart, key, and quantity, and global products. If quantity is lesser than 1, return. If is set, cart, and then you have the variable key, then the quantity, variable quantity plus equal cart, key, quantity. Update item, cart, key, quantity, return. Do you have that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then add item, cost equal products key cost, total equals cost times quantity, items equals array, an array is a name,
Cost, quantity, total.
and nothing changed there. And then it return a cart key, which is assigned to an item. The item is assigned to in a cart, the cart key. So do you have that?
Yep.
Okay, update an item. You have function update item, %, cart variable, key, and quantity. Quantity in integer quantity. If is set cart key, if quantity is greater than 0, no, lesser or equal to 0, unset cart. Else, cart key quantity equals quantity, total equals cart key cost times cart key quantity. Cart keys total equals total.
Is yours on line 29, is it running an error? Well, like it says you should only use one assignment to used to a variable for quantity.
Mine gives an alert. It doesn't give an error.
Okay, yeah, an alert. That's what I meant.
Yeah. One assigned to use to a variable quantity. To avoid accidentally overriding it, make sure your code easier to read. Blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
Don't mind at all. It doesn't, it say the same stuff. Yeah, well. And then it says another one that says you need braces for if and else that.
Yeah.
So NetBeans doesn't like if you don't put braces.
So that part is the same.
And then the subtotal is the same?
Yeah, I can't see your screen. I have function get subtotal, and I have cart decimals equals 2, subtotal equals 0 for each cart as item, subtotal plus or equals item as total, subtotal underscore F equals number format subtotal 2 returns subtotal F.
Do you understand what this is? This is the formatting of the subtotal.
Yeah, I understand the formatting.
Okay, so this is the same. We know that add item view didn't change at all. Let's go to cart view. Okay, the first part on your cart when you have session, that doesn't change. It's just setting the sessions.
Count.
Form doesn't change. This for each also doesn't change.
I didn't change anything except for down in line 49.
Right. Which is, okay, do you have PHP?
I have my last name, /cart, /get underscore subtotal. My parameters are cart, comma 2.
And then you have it closing it, right? Like the PHP?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, because that's the
already in there.
Changes there. Now let's see the index. Oh, you know what? Do you have the require owns? Require owns once? Cart PHP?
Oh, that might help.
That might help.
Ay.
Right? Because that's how we call the cart to start with. Okay, that must be it. Like, run again.
Nope.
Okay, let's go back there.
Cart.php.
So
did I write that right?
Index require once cart PHP inside single quotes and a colon, a semicolon at the end. And then here's what is starting. They are setting up the session. They're saying that the lifetime of the session is 2 weeks in seconds.
Okay.
And then this is the lifetime of a cookie. But in this case, it's commented out. I think this is what we're going to learn next.
Okay.
And then the session starts. So they said every time you start on the web page, the session start, and that session will last 2 weeks. And then it says if the session is empty, then we're going to populate a cart with an array of whatever we choose. But if the cart already has information, we are getting it from the session. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah, let me see on my else statement if
you did it right.
can you see my else statement?
Let me look at it. I got out
On
of
line 14, does that look right?
elf cart. Oh, you don't have the equal array. It's just cart equals session brackets cart 13. That equal array in the end is gone.
Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, because you basically have
Oh, because I was basically telling it to empty it again, huh?
Yeah, it would probably not follow either one because you had two things there that were contradictory. So save and try it again.
No. All right. Well, that wasn't it.
Okay, let's keep going down. The arrays didn't change.
Well, the require ones.
Oh, the
right
require
here.
ones has to be on the very top, right?
Yeah.
So it can be here again because it says require once, not twice.
Let's comment that out.
But you know what? Mine has both because I didn't take the one down here.
Oh.
I just put the one on top, and well, hello. And just because of that, I'm going just to have to run mine just to see once again that I didn't mess up. Hold on.
I'm gonna see.
Where is mine?
No, that didn't do anything for me.
Mine is working. Let me show you. Oh, actually, let's keep going down the code. Let's figure it out. So just keep that there, even though that makes no sense now. Because I just put mine on top because say, hey, it doesn't have a required once. So that has to be on the very top.
So you have both of them?
I have both of them and still working.
Huh. I'll just leave it as
Go
it is
figures.
then.
Okay. So on your else, do you have the variable cart assigned to the session, and the session has a key that is cart 13 inside inside a single quotes?
Uh-huh.
Okay, and then semicolon at the end. Did you
Yep.
close that else statement with a curly bracket?
Yep, I did.
Okay, so let's go down. On my line 25, what is get the action to perform, I said action, and it's just filters and validation.
Mm-hmm.
And has show add item, which is the same thing it had before. I didn't change anything from here. And then the next things that changed was in the switch statement. Let's look at this because this is something that is not working. Switch statement action.
I added the cart to both these cases.
Okay, let's read line to line because I think what you did is what exactly I did. I have case add variable key equals filter input with input post product key.
Mm-hmm.
Quantity with filter input post item quantity.
Mm-hmm.
And now I have pointing to my library, which is grande /cart /add item. Oh, by the way, do you have backslash or you have just the regular slash?
I have backslashes.
Okay. And then my parameters are cart, key, and quantity.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have a session with a key dart 13 equals cart.
Oh, I don't have that in here.
Oh, okay. So that's what is missing. Now,
So I need to add a session in here.
yes, what happened is that we want the cart. If something is added to the cart, that has to be saved into the session, right? So the session only exists if we assign the cart to it. So
Do we add in the quantity too?
no, you just add the whole cart. So then you're going to have the variable session underscore session, and the key is cart 13 within brackets, and we assign that to cart.
Is that right?
Let me look at it because I'm looking at mine. Yes. So you can copy that line again.
So we're
You're
saying
assigning,
if it's adding, we're gonna assign this cart to a session so it saves it when the browser closes, right?
no, it saves while the browser is open. Once the browser closes, then that information is gone. So the session only exists while the browser is opened. So you can go back and forth to the same web page. But once you close that Chrome or Firefox, that information is gone. The cookie saves in your computer, so you can save it for a longer time. But a session is safer.
Okay. Now on line 47, I have a session.
That's right. We're going to copy that line of the session, cart equals cart.
Mm-hmm.
And where would that go again? Look where did this one go?
I'm thinking it's going to go under, after it points to the library. So it's going to go at the end of the if statement.
What goes after the session statement on the add case?
The include.
Right. So you're going to put that before the include on the other ones.
Now, the curly braces are a little bit different. So would I do it after the for each?
Yes, you're just going to create a line right on top of include, because that's the thing you need to save before you do the include. So you're saving the cart information to a session.
Okay. I bet that's what my problem was. Let's go back.
And add to the other ones. Which other functions you have there?
I have show cart, show add items, empty cart.
Would any of those need it? What do you think?
I would think the show add item would definitely. What is the show cart doing?
The show cart is just displaying what you have. So
So
It's
yeah,
gonna
we
go.
would need it in those cases as well, huh?
No, because if you think about the show
Oh.
cards are not saving anything. The add card and the update card are saving new information. So
Oh, okay.
you need that session to be saved either because you added new things or because you updated things on that card. Those are the only parts where something is actually being stored. So the session, you want to save that session on the add and on the update. The other ones don't need it.
Okay.
And you're going to see that the empty card
Oh,
have the unset,
date
but
item.
the unset is just to delete the information. And it's already there.
Line 29.
Let me see what you, did you run yours? You got an error?
Yeah, it's bringing up all these errors now.
Well, do it
Missing
again.
argument 3, page, or on line 11, and
Argument. Update item.
cart.php.
What?
Oh,
I already see what it is.
there we go.
What is missing on line 11?
I was missing a parameter.
Very good. Now see if you can.
There we go. Haha! Okay,
It worked, Desiree.
it worked. Oh my gosh, thank you so much.
Let's do a happy dance. But this has been good for me because if I just go over it, it kind of gets into my head.
Yeah, well, and then you're explaining how it's working is like helping me understand it
And
too.
that's because I explain like, you know, who knows what. It's a miracle anybody understands what I'm saying.